up again. Talk about trying to not be distracted while you're doing something. Can you guys hear that on air? You can't hear it? Well, that's fine then. It's louder than 4th of July for me, but this must be a good microphone setup we have. Okay, well, then I'll try to focus with the banging in the background. All right. Look, here's the problem with covering healthcare. It's like any other issue. It's so bad, I can't even find the proper words to cover how evil it is. And now that we've had a week and a half to go over the full final version, it's amazing even me, and I expect a lot, out of these tyrants. I mean, it takes a lot to surprise me. Tom Daschle, 3 years ago, wrote a book. We've read the passages saying we need to get more like Europeans who just understand after 60, you have a duty to die. And they have this comparative care. They have these bioethicists that sit over the hospitals under federal control, and they decide if you get health care. And as you get older, they begin rationing the care. And that is in the bill. And AP reported, of course, that, it was an oversight, but it's law now. Children and others with pre-existing conditions, you don't get coverage. The insurance companies don't have to give it to you. And then you go on Medicare, Medicaid, and the taxpayer pays for it. But then you get a lower standard of care. That's how they cut Medicare, cut Medicaid, lower the standard of care, but raise taxes. It's nothing but a tax increase for government and a boondoggle payoff to the insurance companies. I'm going to get into that coming up next. But we've got the YouTube video itself posted up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, but WorldNet Daily has an article about it as well that's excellent. New York Times columnist, death panels will save a lot of money. That's a quote. Paul Krugman tells Roundtable economists agree it's going to be major. And their argument is, hey, these panels are going to cut what tests you get, what surgeries you get, just like in Europe or just like the VA. The one case we have of government-run health care, it's a nightmare. I was talking to a lady this morning from England. And she was telling me just how the health service is absolutely horrible. But you talk to Americans who've been told the lie, those that support socialist health care, like, oh, it's great. Everything's free in England. Waiting a month on a gurney. That was in the news last week, and dying a month, not being given any health care, 18 months for cancer surgeries that are almost 100% operable. If you get it within a few months, oh no, you wait over a year and a half, you die. So I wanted to go ahead and play the New York Times economic columnist Paul Krugman says the so-called death panels established by President Obama, $1 trillion nationalized health care plan, will end up saving a lot of money for the government. But he's operating under the false left-right paradigm, saying, well, wait a minute, Republicans, you're saying this is going to cost too much money, but if these death panels cut the amount that's spent, which they will, then that cuts spending. No, that's not how this works. The insurance companies get the lower standard of care for everybody. They get to force 30 million plus people to get insurance. And the government gets to raise all these new taxes on people and save money. So more money goes to the banks and insurance companies and interest on the debt. You get less care. You get less service. So he knows people are watching at home, and he tries to manipulate them by saying, well, wait a minute, if this cuts cost, how is this driving up the deficit? But they admit it costs more money. They admit it raises all these taxes. They admit it brings in more money, but does lower cost because you're being robbed. And I'm going to go over the insurance companies that were behind this in a moment. But right now, let's go ahead and play Paul Krugman on ABC News program This Week. Here it is.
Amazing, actually, if you think about people on the right, they're simultaneously screaming they're going to send all the old people to death panels, and it's not going to save any money. That's a contradictory point of view.
Death panels would save money.
What?
I mean, theoretically.
The advisory panel, which has the ability to make more or less binding judgments on saying this particular expensive treatment actually doesn't do any good medically, and so we're not going to pay for it, that is actually going to save quite a lot of money. We don't know how much yet. The CBO gives it very little credit, but most of the healthcare economists I talk to think that it's going to be a really major cost saving.
There you go. A cost savings, and they admit over $40 billion a year cuts in Medicare and Medicaid, and they're not just all the new federal taxes and taxes on health care, savings accounts, and everything else, but they make the states come up with money for Medicare and Medicaid. They make them contribute to it. Completely unconstitutional. Now, I told you how 3 months ago I was in an airport. I already knew this. I already read it other places. But there was the head of the healthcare insurance lobby saying, hey, we wrote this bill, and if you put a public option in it, which I'm not for, by the way, because it'll always get stolen. It's wrong to take people's money for somebody else. It's wrong for the government to make you buy something. But it's even worse than stealing money to help people, because they're not even doing it for that. Of course they're not. Did the Soviets steal people's money and labor to help them? Did Hitler, the National Socialist, do it? Did Mao Zedong? No, 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 no. That's the point. You're always going to get cheated. But there they were saying, if you do try to actually cover people with pre-existing conditions, we're pulling out. We're for this if it makes people come buy our goods, if it makes them buy our service and lets us lower quality. And that's why in the last week and a half, all the major health insurance company stocks are up, and it's been leading the stock market up in the last week and a half, and that was all over AP, Bloomberg, you name it. There's your evidence for all you stupid liberals who really believe the nanny state cares about you and the government loves you, and boy, you got the rich guys, you got the middle class, you're going to get your free giveaway now because you want to be a lazy parasite. Or because you're so taxed and so regulated, you can't make ends meet because of big government, destroying our economy and ruining the best health care in the world. Some people aren't lazy. They are being cheated. And the illegals are bankrupting, and it goes on and on. But a great article by Revolt of the Plebes. We've got it up on Infowars.com. The K Street hustling of Obamacare. And it says, ooh, snap. Looks like we've been right all along. All the K Street money pumped into the House and Senate has been overwhelmingly one-sided in favor of Obama's horrendous new health care legislation. Go figure. According to a new study released over the weekend by the Center for Public Policy, a nonpartisan public interest think tank in D.C., it is estimated that a record $120 million was spent lobbying for the health reform. In addition to direct lobbying, some of the top firms also rewarded members of Congress with campaign contributions through political action committees and individual lobbying donations. The largest of these firms, Patton Boggs LLP, contributed more than $55,000 almost exclusively to Democrats. Patton Boggs represents Bristol Myers Squibb, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the nation and the 8th largest corporation in the United States. On January 21st, 2010, Patton Boggs was one of several big-name health insurance, pharmacological, and hospital lobbying organizations whose top executives got together to throw a fundraiser for Massachusetts senatorial candidate Martha Coakley in hopes of landing her the Democratic seat at the crucial 60th vote needed to pass the health care takeover bill. The other top firms that participated, along with a list of companies they represent, are as follows. And it goes on for page after page after page after page. And you can go also in a link here to the Center for Public Policy and look. Over 94% of all lobbying, health care, and insurance money, and the guy behind Obama more than anybody else, Berkshire Hathaway insurance company, mogul, they are all there pushing this. Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, you name it. The biggest fortunes are made by controlling government contracts. Even Ross Perot, who bashes big government, made almost all his money with EDS and other companies with government contracts. That is how this works. And they list it. Capitol Hill Strategies, Amgen, the nation's largest biotech firm, Bio, a multi-million-dollar biotech firm, Merck, largest pharmaceutical company in the world, Pharmaceutical Researchers and Manufacturers of Americas, the whole association, a trade group representing pharmacological and biotechnology companies, Grover Park Group, Blue Cross, a federated 39 health insurance organizations, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pfizer, a pharmacological company ranking #1 in sales in the world, Duberstein Group, Norvitas, the pharmacological company ranking #1 in revenues and all 3 in sales, and it goes through all that. Mollman, Vogel, Castaghetti, Humana, the 4th largest health insurance company in the United States, Abbott Laboratories, multi-billion-dollar pharmaceuticals healthcare company. Healthcare wrote it. And they're the ones that got government involved the last 35, 40 years that jacked up prices and raped you. Hey, you got it right. The insurance companies are cheating you and raping you. And they're going to get you a lot worse now. And then you'll go, I want more government.